Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will chat with Quincy Elder Services Director Tom Clasby about how the coronavirus crisis is impacting Quincy's older residents and the Kennedy Center. First, though, we'll check out the weather and the news for you this morning. Currently in Quincy, kind of cloudy out there. It's already 50 degrees. We're headed for the mid-60s on this first full day of spring today. The wind is going to pick up later on. Could see some more spot showers throughout the day, but look at the highs up in the upper 60s, maybe 70 degrees some places this afternoon. The rumble of thunder later on today, believe it or not, is not out of the question. Things will clear out tonight and cool down. Temperatures tonight drop off to the lower 40s. That sets us up for a bright but a brisk first weekend of spring. Tomorrow, sun and clouds, highs in the mid 40s and even chillier on Sunday. Full sunshine, but high Sunday only in the mid 30s, and believe it or not, could have a little wet snow with some rain on Monday, especially in the morning, with highs Monday only around 40 degrees. But right now, clouds, kind of damp, and 50 in Quincy. In the news today, Quincy City Council will be holding a special remote meeting later on today to vote on a request from Mayor Thomas Koch to use $500,000 left over in the snow and ice removal budget to purchase some personal protective equipment for Quincy's first responders. The mayor says that equipment would be needed if Quincy Medical Center is reactivated, either as a medical center or a remote drive-through testing site for the coronavirus. Mayor says he's been in discussions with the owner of the former hospital, Fox Rock Properties, about potentially reopening the Whitwell Street facility. The hospital is slated for demolition to make way for a large new housing development. Today's City Council meeting will be held at 5 p.m. via teleconference, but it will be carried live on Quincy Access Television Channel 9. Meantime, all hair and nail salons, massage and tattoo parlors, and gyms and fitness centers in Quincy must close at midnight tonight in order to help prevent the spread of coronavirus. Health Commissioner Ruth Jones told Quincy Mayor Thomas Koch that there's no way that those personal care businesses can maintain the recommended 6 feet of social distancing space between patrons.
So I think that in certain instances, like in hair salons and barbershops and nail salons, people have to be close in order to perform what they have to do.
And for more than 15 minutes.
Absolutely,
yeah.
For more than 15
Yeah,
minutes. And so those are the two deciding factors, that distance and this sustained contact. So I think it's a smart move. I think we need to do this right now, and we'll get people back to normal as quickly as we can, but we don't want people to get sick.
Right, absolutely.
Mayor said a number of personal care businesses had already closed on their own. That order remains in effect until at least April 6th. Although playgrounds are closed, parks here in Quincy remain open. The Commissioner of Natural Resources, Dave Murphy, said that getting outdoors at a safe distance will become very important as more and more people remain at home during the coronavirus crisis.
The tot lots, I guess, so the playground structures that you're talking about that serve the kids anywhere from 2 to 12 years old. We've decided, based on the advice of the Commissioner of Health, Ruth Jones, along with discussing with many other communities throughout Massachusetts, that the unknown kind of life of the virus on different surfaces, it would be best, knowing that these are going to be attractive nuisances and gathering places as the weather gets a little bit better.
And kids are out of school right now.
Kids are out of school.
Yeah.
So we thought it best to close the tot lots for the time being, kind of get our legs underneath us on the coronavirus piece. Now that said, that's just the tot lots. The parks themselves are open. So we have 52 different park locations throughout the city that people can walk, hike, explore beyond. The state park system from Squantum Point Park or the Blue Hills Reservation is going to be open for the time being. And I would strongly encourage people, as cabin fever begins to set in, to explore. Enjoy our park system, get out, enjoy nature.
Murphy did say that his department's making some pretty major improvements to parks across the city this year as part of the mayor's capital improvements program. Interfaith Social Services of Quincy says they need monetary donations in order to purchase more food for their food pantry. Interfaith says that they've been forced to purchase more food because grocery stores have less excess food to donate due to the high demand caused by the coronavirus. Interfaith is also limiting the number of volunteers at the pantry. That's in an effort to practice social distancing, but they're urging people to volunteer their time if they are able. Executive Director Rick Doan has taken over now as the temporary manager of the food pantry in order to give older food pantry volunteers time away from their volunteering efforts. Interfaith has also temporarily closed their thrift shop. If you can help them, please visit them on Adams Street or visit their website, interfaithsocialservices.org. And the South Shore YMCA's Germantown Food Pantry is also open during the coronavirus crisis. That pantry is open at the Germantown Neighborhood Center on Palmer Street, Wednesdays and Fridays from 8:30 to noontime for people with proof of Quincy residency or a South Shore YMCA membership key tag. The center is also looking for additional donations and volunteers during this crisis. And now that you're up to date with weather and news, let's check out our programming lineup for later on today here on Quincy Access Television. And it will start with a replay of this program currently in Quincy today at 5 o'clock. 5:30 currently in Quincy, the interviews with Mayor Thomas Koch and School Superintendent Richard DeCristofaro on the coronavirus situation. Then at 6 a.m. Quincy, we talk with financial advisor Joe Camargo about the economic crisis we're in right now. At 6:35, In the Know, all about the senior circuit breaker tax credits. Then AM Quincy tonight at 7 o'clock, that full interview with Commissioner of Natural Resources Dave Murphy. 7:30 on AM Quincy, Congressman Joe Kennedy speaks about the coronavirus crisis. And then at 8 o'clock, FYI from the Quincy Health Department, and Ruth Jones providing medical information about coronavirus. It's followed at 8:30 by Meet the Artist, episode 3 tonight. We go on the road with Jazzy Bill at 9 o'clock. And tonight it's episode 13. On Cue, episode 2 at 9:30 on Channel 8. And then at 10 o'clock, just because we missed it on St. Patrick's Day at the Kennedy Center, Dennis O'Gorman will be singing Irish tunes. Finally at 11 o'clock tonight, Channel 8, join us for Democracy Now! Switch over to Channel 9 today at 5 o'clock, please, and watch that special teleconference meeting of the Quincy City Council. The councilors will be discussing a request from the mayor to spend $500,000 left over in the snow and ice removal budget to purchase personal protective equipment for first responders. And all regular programming on Channel 9 has been suspended in order to provide you the very latest information on how the coronavirus pandemic is impacting the city of Quincy. If you'd like a complete program schedule, head on over to our website at qatv.org. Just click on program schedule and do follow us too on Facebook and Twitter, and check out our weekly ad in the Quincy Sun once it republishes again in 2 weeks. Coming up, we sit down with Quincy Elder Services Director Tom Clasby. That's next. Welcome back. Just looking at that live shot outside of our studio, and a desolate Washington Street and a desolate parking lot there for the Thomas Crane Public Library, of course, which is closed. And it is kind of surreal during this current pandemic that we're in here in Quincy and across the United States. And we've heard over and over again how this particularly will affect older people and people with compromised immune systems. So it got me to thinking, let's get Tom Clasby over here from the Quincy Department of Elder Services, chat a little bit about how that's impacting older folks here in Quincy. And Tom, I really appreciate your time. Certainly eerie times that we're in.
Joe, it's always good to see you. Yes, it is. We were just saying it's an odd thing. None of us have ever lived through anything like this.
Not like this.
You know?
No, this is different.
So,
yeah. Certainly, it has. Years ago, early 1900s, the Spanish flu and things of that nature. But
yeah, I remember my dad telling me about his father remembering a little bit about the Spanish flu.
Okay.
You know, he was very young.
So that's
but-
2 generations ago.
Yeah.
So not in our lifetime.
Right. Right. You know, I will say this though, as you were saying out front, very desolate. As I was leaving the Kennedy Center, because now, as you mentioned a minute ago, it's getting a little warmer now, and the
Yeah.
weather seems to be breaking. And I did notice quite a few people out walking. They're
Yes.
keeping a safe different distance,
Yep.
but even along Wollaston Beach, and it was so good to see.
Absolutely.
You know,
yeah.
it was
I think
nice
it's
to see
important.
that, yeah.
Just as a way of an update, we should folks should know the Kennedy Center is closed. Yes.
Yeah, it is, and it's something that I did with a little bit of reluctance. It was absolutely the right call. A lot of the other senior centers in the area closed immediately. I was very concerned about social isolation, so I didn't want to jump the gun. Thank God we have great, Ruthie is tremendous as our public health commissioner. The mayor's making really good decisions. We looked at it when we made that decision. We said it would be done on a daily basis, whether
Yeah.
or not we closed. We ended up closing just about the same time everyone else did.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
and it was the right decision. Although some of our transportation is still running because
Okay.
we transport dialysis folks. We transport people that have cancer and they need medical, they need chemo treatment and radiation treatment. And then there are other people that are in the middle of things that they really need the treatment right away. So we're looking at transportation the same way we would look at first responders, that they're absolutely necessary.
Okay.
And I will say this about the drivers. They always rise to the occasion, so we're very, very grateful for them. We're sanitizing the vehicles. Every morning they get sanitized with the sanitation machines, which the building has also been multiple times sanitized throughout the day. And we're taking every precaution, trying to limit to be honest with you, there's very few people that are going.
Yeah.
So, they're on the vehicles, there's plenty of space between each person
Okay.
and all that. We're taking all the necessary precautions, but we're still operating in that capacity.
Okay.
You know.
How does it actually work, Tom? The transportation? Do they go to the Kennedy Center to get the rides?
No,
or-
so
Okay.
it's a door-to-door service. So we pick them up right at their home,
Okay.
and then take them for their treatment. And then when they're finished with the treatment, they would call the office, and similar to a cab, they would dispatch back out to get them. And they're all people that have been going with us for an awful long time.
Okay.
So they know the
They know the routine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these are the city vehicles, right? The city
Correct.
vans?
Yeah, the city vehicles, city employees doing it. Yeah.
Sure.
So it's very funny though, Joe. We mentioned the seniors and their outlook on things.
Yeah.
And it's a good outlook, I think, overall. Although you just don't want them to get careless. Originally, a lady said, because we stayed open a little bit longer than some of the other senior centers, as I mentioned. And she said, thanks for remaining open. And I said, well, I was concerned that people, might get nervous, overly nervous, And she said, look, we lived through the Great Depression, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Then she started listing all the AIDS and SARS and, things. So she says, we're not afraid of that. I said, well, okay, okay, but, again, and overall, I mean, she was being funny, but
Yeah.
I think they are being cautious,
I think you need
and
to be
rightly so.
balanced. You need
Absolutely.
to have a balanced reaction.
Absolutely.
A good dose, a healthy dose of reality and common sense,
Yeah.
coupled with
Yeah.
some levity, and some realistic visions of what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is we've had a lot of people calling to volunteer.
Okay.
Which is really nice, and I'm delighted that they would do that. We also have to be very careful. We query check all volunteers,
course.
so it's not like I can just hook you up with a senior right away. I don't know who you are.
Right.
And sad to say, these things have already taken. The scam artists have already taken. We've probably seen where there's somebody selling the serum that's gonna, take
Is that
this.
right?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they're
gosh.
out there. Yeah, the serum or vaccination or whatever you want to call it.
Snake
oil.
oil.
Yeah. So our first guard is always to protect the seniors.
Yep.
So we haven't put together a volunteer force. We are compiling people that want to volunteer,
Okay.
and we're doing the query checks. Although I must say we've had more calls with people that want to volunteer than we have had seniors that need something. And I
Interesting.
think the reason for that is most of our seniors have family members here in the community. So there are very few that are isolated. The ones that are isolated, we're aware of who they are.
Okay.
And they're people that already partake in our services. So we've been able to staff, been able to get. I had a gentleman yesterday who's blind. He has 2 great sons. They're really good guys, but they live one's in California, the other's in Texas. He needed something. We were able to take care of it for him yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
So, we're managing, and they seem to be managing. The other thing we've done is we're making phone calls out to people that regularly attend the Kennedy Center events, or that we know use our services in other capacities, transportation. We're calling them just to do wellness checks,
Okay.
seeing if there's anything that we can do.
Okay, that's a good
you
point.
know.
Actually, you have like a database of your members.
We
right?
do. Yeah.
And
And which,
there's a great. Here's a great example of why it's necessary.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a database through it's called My Senior Center.
Yeah.
Everyone that comes in checks in, so we also know who's there on a regular basis and where they are when they're in the building. you
Great.
know. So there's lots of good reasons to have that. It helps us with our reporting, but it also we can get their contact information or their emergency contact information. So if we were to call and we didn't get any response from a person, we'd probably give it a couple more calls. If we didn't continue, then we'd call whoever their emergency contact person was and say, have you checked on your mother or
Yes.
your dad?
Great
Yeah.
point. Another
Yeah.
great point too is that although the center is closed, you're in the office, right?
We're in the
Your
office,
staff.
yeah. I mean, people are calling and occasionally need something,
Okay.
and we're there, and we're ready to hook them up if we can, help in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you suggest any online options for folks, older folks, Tom, to go to utilize? Because a lot of them are connected.
Yeah, a lot of them are connected. Well, there's interesting, Joe, that you say that. We're actually trying to put together something ourselves. Maybe some of our programs, we want to talk a little bit with you guys if we can show some of maybe do our exercise or Tai Chi or something like that here.
Okay.
On that.
I don't know how to do Tai Chi.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That would be the entertainment portion of the show.
Correct. MCOA, the Mass Council on Aging website,
Okay,
I think it's
all right.
MCOA.org, is a good resource.
Okay.
The Executive Office of Elder Affairs has a lot of good information.
Oh, all right.
That would be on the Massachusetts State. I think it's MassState.gov.
Okay.
They have an awful lot of information.
Sure.
Social Elder Services, too.
Of course, yeah. That's a great
The other
one.
thing, Joe, is, as we mentioned, people wanting to volunteer, they may want to contact South Shore Elder Services, which is in Braintree. I should have brought the number with me.
SSElder.org. I know
Yeah,
is the
that's
website.
right. Yeah, that's the website, sselder.org. They are always looking for volunteers
Yes.
for Meals on Wheels.
Yes.
And I suspect with this current crisis,
Yep.
there's more people signing up for Meals on Wheels than ever before.
Absolutely,
so I'd
yeah.
be willing to bet that they are looking for volunteers. Well, I know they're always looking for volunteers.
Yep.
I mean, always.
That's a crucial service,
yeah.
and more
Yeah,
so
it's a
now.
great service.
I was thinking, just before the show, I'm thinking this is kind of like the blizzard of '78 without the snow.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's a blizzard of an epidemic,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
yeah.
that we can't see.
Yeah, and we're also trying to, be realistic and try to keep people calm. Although I will say, as I mentioned that the woman in the beginning, that the seniors do seem to be relatively calm, especially considering they are really the people that are most at risk,
Yes.
or among the most at risk
Right.
in our society. But they seem, for the most part, to be taking it in stride
Okay.
and doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But not panicking.
Yeah.
Some of the media has been, I think, very irresponsible. I wish the governor would mention that. Not so much our local media, but geez, the national media is just in some ways out of control. As I mentioned on ABC, opening up with the death toll is now,
Yeah.
and then 10 minutes later they're telling you not to panic. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, well, we're not doing that here. That's
No.
Absolutely
no.
not.
Well, as always, you guys have just been great. This is such a lifeblood to not only my department, but I know Ruthie with the health department,
Yep.
the mayor's office certainly, and you're not doing that. You're putting out a lot of good information, and no, I think locally, the department head meetings we've had have been very helpful. The mayor's had a number of department head
Yep.
meetings. Chief Keenan and Chief Jackson just doing really superb jobs. So we're fortunate. We're in good hands in this city.
Yeah. In terms of reopening, Tom, what are you hearing right now, at least?
So we're in constant communication with Ruthie, and we really don't have anything definitive. We'll probably, I should say, we really evaluate, pretty much on a daily basis. We're not there yet. I'm hoping it's a few weeks, and we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
But
see,
we'll
yeah.
definitely take our cue from the health commissioner
Sure.
and the mayor.
Yeah, I know April 6th right now, schools are set to reopen, but that could change.
Yeah, it's funny, as I mentioned to you, I think before we went on the air, one of the biggest, perhaps I said it on the air, but I'm not sure, one of the other big calls that we've been getting about it is the April 15th tax deadline date going to
They're
be.
worried about their
you know?
taxes, yeah.
Yeah, now originally I heard it wasn't, and I just heard that it may be, so we'll look into it as soon as we can get the information out.
Yeah,
But
last I'd heard, it was still April 15th, but
you could file for an extension.
they're looking for
Yeah,
extensions,
yeah.
And that would push it off to, I think, July 15th or something.
It says a
like that.
lot, seniors are so conscientious about stuff like that.
Yeah, regardless of what's going on, right?
Yeah, absolutely, so.
And a lot of them, I mentioned, are online savvy, and there are, I know Grace Busher has been teaching computer classes for a long time now at the Kennedy Center, so they may have their own devices at home.
No doubt.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
can use the teleconferencing,
Yeah,
systems now to
Oh,
check
yeah.
in with their friends
Yeah,
and
yeah.
family.
You know what? It's funny. They're much more familiar with things like that, especially if they have grandchildren out of grandchildren, but especially if they have grandchildren out of state. They love to do the
Yes.
FaceTime and all that stuff. with
Yeah.
them, so.
Do you find that members have kind of formed their own individual social groups, and maybe now that they can, I don't know, play cards over the phone or something, or
Yeah, that's a good question. I
Yeah.
don't know that. We haven't heard anything like that, but it's a
Okay.
really good question. It'll be interesting to see, Joe. That's a really good point. As this winds down and when we reopen, to hear people's stories.
Yeah, exactly.
How it's affected them and the things that they did to cope.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I know at the Kennedy Center, you mentioned Ruth Jones, the health commissioner. She's right there with you.
She is,
in the
yes.
Kennedy Center.
We joke often because, of course, the spaces. We love that they're there,
Yep.
and we'd love to kick them out. But it's tremendous to have the nurses in particular there. The staff is great in general, but anytime we've had emergency situations, we've had nurses right there.
Yes.
In the building, and it just brings a lot of comfort.
Yeah.
They're putting in a lot of hours.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
fielding a lot of phone calls. There's been extra phone lines brought in, and they're doing a really good job.
Yeah. For folks, Tom, who are older and maybe are feeling a little anxious, right now and are kind of isolated, what's some of your recommendations, suggestions?
Yeah,
to
I
them?
think
Yeah.
you know what I think it's really important to watch the news so that we're informed. Watch QATV certainly to be informed. Also, though, shut it off every now and then. Listen to music. If there's something, if you can get out a little bit of fresh air and walk around the yard,
Yep.
keeping in mind all of the restrictions that are around. And really, I think it's important to take a little bit break from that all and do things to de-stress.
Yeah.
Phone, certainly, they can call us if they don't have anyone else to talk to,
Okay.
or if they just want to talk to me, we'll be happy to talk to them.
Yeah.
But also, call a friend.
Yep.
Check on people in other states, and
Yep.
you
What are
gotta,
you
you
hearing?
gotta you gotta continue to live. I
Yes,
guess
yeah.
is the main thing.
And that was their message to you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Life goes on.
Absolutely.
What are you hearing from your colleagues in other states and other cities, in the Commonwealth?
Yeah, pretty much the
Same
same
thing?
everywhere we go. Again, I I may very well have been wrong on this. I was one. There were an awful lot that wanted to close right away before the governor had done anything, and before their town selectmen or mayors had done anything. and I felt they were jumping the gun because I really look at the thing holistically, and again, my concern, and I would say that to somebody, but oh yeah, well, I never really thought of that, you know. However, we're pretty much all done the same type of things, and you know, perhaps they were right. We'll see.
Yeah,
and
all
that's
right.
fine. If they were, that's all right.
Sure. Anything else, Tom?
I don't think so. Just if they need to contact
Yep.
us, they can get us at the main number there, 617-376-1506.
Okay.
We're there for you. We're there all day, and if we can help out in any way, we will.
Excellent.
bet.
And to you and everybody in your family and staff, a very safe and healthy weekend.
Thank you, Joe. You too.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Just enough time to recap the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Look out for some off and on showers. Windy, warm, and wet, I guess is the good way to describe it. Temperatures climbing into the upper 60s this afternoon with the possible rumble of thunder. Down to the lower 40s this evening. Sunshine over the weekend, but it'll be chilly. Mid-40s tomorrow and only in the mid-30s by Sunday. Maybe a little rain and wet snow again on Monday. It is March after all. Thanks again to Tom Clasby for joining us on the program today. Thank you for watching. Thanks to our crew as well. Monday at 11:30, Kelly Eisner is here from the American Red Cross. We'll learn about the urgent need for blood during the coronavirus pandemic. We'll see you then.